Hey YouTube, up close series continues with my, I've just done a video of this playing this, I've just put new strings on it, Elixir, so I did. This is my Ibanez 1986 Ibanez rg530bp, BP for Black Pearl. As you can see, you can't really see it in any of the other videos, but this is, if you get the light right on it, you can see it's like it's got a maple veneer, I'm assuming, in below it, and then it fades to white around the outside, bit of binding on it, and then when you go around the back, it's not going to show up in any videos, is it? It's Japanese pearl white, which apparently only the Japanese can ever do. There are Fenders that did it. You can see there, it's in the sticker on the back of the headstock. I've tried turning the light on, see if it makes it any better. It doesn't really, does it? rg530, see, and Ibanez Smooth Tune 2 tuners. I can't quite read it. It's Smooth Tuner. I think it says Smooth Tuner 2 on it. Basically just GoTo belt. If you take them off and look on the underside, they've got the GoTo badge on it. There's a few wee lacquer cracks and stuff in this, but you can maybe see the colour of it there. It's kind of, it's pearl white, so it's not white, it's Japanese pearl white, which they were big on all the way round the back and everything. It's the serial number, which is Jai 86. Jai will be the month. She's been used a little bit, made in Japan. I mean, not to be snobby about it, but it does make a big difference when it's made in Japan. So it does. So 1986, this guitar did exist in 1985, but it had a Ibanez's own bridge on it. This is Ibanez's own bridge as well, but they've actually got the Floyd Rose license now. So this is an Edge bridge. It's called the original Edge. Get an angle you can actually see it. Really can't, can I? Turn the light off again, won't make any difference. Make it any better. You can sort of see there. See, it's kind of wedge shaped. This is pre Steve Vai cutting away the back of it. So to bend, you can get like one fret, but you can't get any more. That's why some, you know, the Vai's cut out behind it. Same with the later on RGs, because this is RG. You saw on the sticker on the back of the headstock. So RG does actually stand for Roadster guitar. This one is one of the rare. It's an Ibanez. It's an RG, but it also says Roadster 2 on it. Roadstar 2, not Roadster. Roadsters were the earlier ones, which was apparently a misprint. Or it was meant to be Roadster, but somebody changed it to Roadstar. No, it was meant to be Roadstar, as in Star of the Road. And somebody went, no, you spelt that wrong. It should be Roadster, like a Roadster car. So the first couple of years, the Roadster, but when it came back as a Roadstar. That's how that worked. So first year, the original, the Ibanez version, it's called a Pro Rocker or something like that, is a good bridge, but the bits wear out and you can't get replacements, and the hole that it leaves is a bit wrong. So this one, okay, this bridge is 40 years old, 38 years old, but if it did go, I could just put on, I buy a new Floyd Rose and put it in, everything is already there because it's an actual Floyd Rose, whereas with the Pro Rockers, it's like the hole that's left behind, it's not, you can't just easily plop in a replacement bridge. So these, much more desirable. Got the original bar for it as well. It's the lot. These pickups, I don't know if you can see, if I had the angle right, you can see they say Ibanez in the bottom right hand corner. These are original to this guitar. See, they've got the two adjustment screws on the top here as well, which means you can tilt the pickup so it matches the strings, which I've talked to a luthier about this. It's cost. That's why they don't all have two screws on the top. It's much cheaper to make a guitar with just, you can save the price of a screw, which seems a bit silly, but apparently, according to some luthier I was talking to, because I kind of always thought that's like, it just seems like a better option. You know, why would you not want, maybe not so much the idea of having it, you know, so it's sitting perfectly in line with the strings is a nice one. Whether that really makes a difference or not doesn't really matter, but quite a lot on guitars you get, and the pickup just kind of sits at a stupid angle, and it's really annoying. You're poking it and wedging it and trying to just get it so it just sits and doesn't look shit, whereas this one, you just adjust it to go to whatever angle you want. You can make it flat if you want, but normally that's when a guitar's not been particularly well built. So 24 frets on this one, so that's where it differs from rg140. And also it's got binding. Actually, looking at it there, it's actually got triple binding. Look at it closely. You know, it's not just binding. It's got a black binding, then a white binding, then a black binding, which is a little bit fancier, which I hadn't actually noticed, to be honest, until right now. These are the original Ibanez Roadster knobs, which they're not brilliant, they're alright, but they are the original ones to this guitar. And there's a barrel jack. I fucking hate barrel jacks, bastards. See, there's a rubber ring around that barrel jack. There was also a rubber ring around the pickup selector, but it basically turned to powder. I was like, oh, it's still, and it just kind of disintegrated. Like, oh, so it doesn't have it. Ideally, I would probably take that the switch tip out and then paint it and then put it back on again. Maybe like the bolt is a wee bit dirty looking. This comes as standard with 2 push pots for coil splitting the neck, neck volume pull up. Well, I changed it. I talked about this in the other video, which I'll probably put out last night or before this, whatever way around it goes. I changed them. It used to have push pots in it, but I changed them to push pull, so that when you look at it, you can go, oh look, I can get it so the light's actually shining on it somehow. There must be a better way of doing this. You can see there, oh look, okay, we're in single coil mode, and it's like, oh, the neck's a humbucker and that's in single coil, so you can actually see. Whereas with the original Ibanez pots from 1986, they look the same. I talked about it, I know what it is because I was looking at it just 2 minutes ago and I did the last video. They are the Ibanez original one. Probably worth money, anyone want to buy it. Just keep it original, even wrote rg530 on it, so I knew it was from this guitar. When you push it in, it pops out to exactly where it was before. So every time you're playing the guitar, you didn't know whether it was single coils or humbuckers, so you just had to play and find out, and then you went, oh, is that a humbucker? So you had to press it to see if it was a humbucker. Oh no, it was a humbucker, so now it's a single coil. So I put it back to humbucker, so you ended up having to press these buttons all the time. And it's like, I know it's a small and pathetic thing that you would totally get used to, but it's better just actually having access to them and knowing what they're doing. Should maybe I put push pots in and put in the more modern ones which pop up like a pen. You know, when it's on, it kind of clicks down and sits up 5mm higher, so you know it's on. And a 3-way switch. Yeah, so I mean, it's really just the finish on this guitar more than anything else, which originally took me. But there's an awful lot of things about it. It's like having an actual, like a proper Floyd Rose, and it's an edge as well. So if you look, the reason it's called an edge, and there's no way. Try to turn the light on again, see if it makes any difference. Yeah, no way. I'm not going to be able to do that, so you can see it. There you can see it there. Look, see there. That wee bit there that actually looks like you stick your USB thing in there. That is a wee slither of like titanium or something that slides in to the top of the bridge. That's what the edge is. So the rest of the bridge can be made of whatever metal, decent quality metal, but the actual bits that are actually in contact with the bolts are like hardened steel, or I think it's titanium in some of the more modern models. But the idea being there that it's like the bit that's going to wear, the only bit that wears is where it goes against the post, but this has got like a really hard, it won't wear down metal slid in. I don't think it's specific, it's designed so you can take it out and replace it. I think it's just so you can put a much harder metal in, the sort of metal that you probably can't fold easily into this, you know, this complicated shape. I'd imagine you've got to cast that, don't you? It's not milled, so you've got to cast it, and it's that you probably can't cast the super heavy duty stainless steel stuff. But the stuff that whatever saws are made of, because I've had a great idea trying to build something out of a saw before, try to cut it up into push. Oh, that's tough stuff. You know, like your usual bendy B&Q saws. I can't remember what I was trying to make. I was trying to make a pickup ring out of it or something like that. And I was like, trying to cut it. It's like, jeez, it just totally does not cut at all because it's super tempered and all that. Yeah, so I mean, it's quite unusually all the original parts are on it. Like all these 6 wee mini tuning pegs are all the original ones because they all look the same. Normally you've got one that's odd, and there's your mini tuning. This, oh, it does come out. There you go. So this is the push-in one, and it's got these wee plastic rings on it which hold it in. So there's a push-in. I'm actually quite liking that because I'm going to take this somewhere. So I like the fact that comes out. I think I've got it on my. It's a similar thing on my J-Packs at RG up there, the 470, and I took up these wee plastic rings. Right, they wear out, so you can replace them. An old guitar. These are the original ones, the ones that were on the thing. It was just wouldn't click on. So what I did was I took the wee plastic bit off, put some PTFDE tape in it, and put it on, which made them just brought them out a little bit. and then put it into the guitar, and I don't really want to pull it back out again because it's kind of like you're kind of putting an awful lot of effort, and I kind of put slightly too much, just made it slightly too big. But it's enough to hold it where you want it, which I like. I like a trem bar to stay where you put it. I can't handle one that just falls down to there all the time, so you have to pick it up to use it. This one is just where you want it all the time. Stunning quality, these guitars. I mean, it's the ultimate expression of craftsmanship. Oh, another thing as well, these, which are always kind of rusty looking, and these are Ibanez Sure Grip or something like that. No, are they Sure Grip? It's got a name like that, these shaped strap button things, which are just cool. You can see how it just means your strap doesn't come off. Most folk throw them away because I think I don't know if they rust, they corrode, and then kind of get joined to the screw, and then people chuck them away. My wee Redgren doesn't have these on it, so I was thinking of buying them for it. And someone went on eBay for 60 quid for two of them. What? I suppose if you're trying to put something back to original, and it's like some guitars are, you know, I just think worthy of keeping original. There's literally, I went through in the last video, the downsides of this guitar are, if you look at the edge of the fingerboard, it's a very thin rosewood, or it's painted up to there, but the actual dots, which are, to be fair, are in the rosewood, are just not quite as easy to see as they are on some other guitars. That, and it's got a barrel jack. Barrel jacks can fuck off, I hate them. I suppose it's neater looking. That's the only advantage I can see to it is, oh, but it's prettier than having like a metal plate with 4 screws in it. But I would just give me a metal plate with 4 screws in it. I'm not going to change it. Look at the colour of that rosewood. Is it really coming out there? It's just that you get rosewood and you get rosewood. So there you go. But it can be, just because it's rosewood doesn't necessarily mean just because this is so old, and if you go back, and it's Japanese as well, you go back long enough, rosewood was easier to get. It wasn't as endangered. There was more of it, so you would get, although this is quite a premium guitar, this sort of rosewood you would only get on the very, I don't even think you would get it on standard guitars now. It would only be custom shops, you know, or £1,500, £2,000 up when you get this grade of rosewood, which is annoying that you can't really see. It's kind of got a reddish tint to it. Very, very nice. The guitar itself is lovely and one of my favourites, and if you only need one guitar, this is the... So I only need one guitar, I've just got my telly, it'll do everything. Yeah, sort of, okay, but this kind of does telly. You know, you can pop them both into single coil mode, and you can get it. It's a Fender scale, and it's got a very, very stratty neck on it, unlike the later on RGs, the more like after Steve Vai had a shot of it. But I got sidetracked when I was doing the last video talking about Steve Vai. Once he got famous, everyone was wanting to build a guitar for him, so he had a rough design. What he did, he drew out a pencil board of all the things he wanted, and all the companies came back with whatever guitar their main guitar was, but with a couple of alterations to make it more like what Steve Vai wanted, and Ibanez basically built what he wanted. It was like they did all the things he asked for. They made it really super pointy, and they recessed the Floyd Rose, and they put the funny switch in and an HSH. He did all the things he asked, and basically it was like that. Here we go, and he's been with them ever since. And those guitars, I think Ibanez didn't suffer the same way Aria, Westtone, all those other companies did by the Japanese, because the yen changed. So by 1986, we're at the end of Japanese production. This was kind of like the last bang a wee bit, because they're just too expensive to build there. You couldn't build everyman guitars in Japan anymore. You know, you could only build pro level stuff. You know, the equivalent of a couple of grand type thing. They couldn't churn out £400 or £500 guitars made in Japan. Not that this was probably was about 500 quid in 1986. What would that make it, about £2.5 grand just now? Something like that. That kind of level. And I've played modern Ibanez. I've got a few, or 2000s. Okay, only 15 years older than this, but this is a luxury item. Does it even say? I think it might actually, it doesn't say on it, I think it might actually be a Roadstar Deluxe series. Deluxe being a bit nicer, and maybe a bit excessive. Because if you look at like the wee red one, which I did a couple of weeks ago, the rg530, it's very basic. Everything on it is brilliant. It's got amazing pickups, but it doesn't have any fancy stuff. This has got fancy stuff. This is like, you know, you don't need to have this flame maple beneath it. You don't need that. You don't need the binding. You don't need the pearl finish. You know, it's just a little bit more luxurious. You don't need the painted headstock. You don't need the painted neck. All these things are just luxury items. You know, it's like you just have a wood neck. That's fine. You know, rather than having it painted. And okay, the Floyd Rose you could argue is necessary for certain types of music, and the coil splits as well. But that's the thing, that the rg530 has the coil splits. Or it's only got one humbucker, but it's got the coil split on them. Yeah. So there's my Paul Gilbert sitting there actually. Yes. So I do. This is one of my favourite guitars. I think it's possibly the prettiest guitar I've got. I think some people don't like it, but I mean, I just think, I mean, regardless of whether you're in what kind of music you're into, I just think that's a beautiful piece of equipment. It's like, it's totally, it kind of sounds like it looks, if you know what I mean. It feels like it looks. It feels very precise and clean. Which, you know, the outline is, it's a very clean, bold statement, and it's like everything's sharp and clean and precise looking. It doesn't, you know, it's not sloppy in any way. This guitar is not a sloppy guitar, and it flutters obviously, because really good Floyd Roses always flutter. Yeah, so I went through this. I've not played this in a few months. It's been hanging on my wall. Actually, the last time I took it off the wall to show somebody, I pulled the camera out during a live stream and had to restart the live stream because the camera, it was an extension thing from a camera that got pulled out because it must have been wrapped around the headstock. So that's why I've not even touched it. That was the last time I touched it a couple of months ago. So now it's got extra strings, and hopefully you'll see it feature a little bit more. Sound wise, I think I'll upgrade it. Right, how are you going to upgrade it? I mean, I'm arguing it's like that's as good a Floyd as you can get. The pickups are amazing. Put Seymour Duncan's or DiMarzio's in it if you want, but why? These are really good. I suppose you could put lock-in tuners on it, but it doesn't really matter. But it's got the best. It's basically everything on it. It's amazing. It's like some of these guitars survive unmodded because there's no point in modding them. When they're bought by somebody who's a little bit, doesn't get their information off looking up magazines and forums or YouTube channels, and actually has a wee shot of it themselves and see whether it's actually good. I keep hearing stories. Ibanez are so bad for getting upgraded. So many folk just up here, yeah, bought the new blah blah blah, you know, £400 Ibanez. Obviously I put DiMarzio's in it immediately without even trying the old pickups, and it's like, the Ibanez don't put shit pickups in any guitars. Maybe if you want like 2% better, maybe you could put DiMarzio's or something. I just think that these pickups are perfect for this guitar. I'm not one for if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So this isn't broke, so I never fixed it. I did have to do a bit of setup on it, stuff like that, and obviously there's a certain amount of maintenance that needs to be done, and it's a wee bit dirty in there. You'll be getting there. Yes. No. A glorious guitar, and hopefully you'll see more of it. I'm thinking I might hang it on my wall with my three. I've got to take the Kraken and the Corker as my favourite guitars now because they're completely unique. This isn't completely unique. You know, there's hundreds of them, maybe something like that. I would think there's not going to be, you know, there's not 10 of them. But again, I don't think there's thousands of them like there are with every other guitar. You know, it's like, you know, rare, custom, limited edition to 500 units. It's definitely that kind of thing. Especially in this colour. There is another one you can get in this colour which is in the same range, which is a sort of reddish brown bit in the middle. And not that I'm biased, it doesn't look anything like as good as the dark green / black one. Because you can't really see that it's got that, or it's like charcoal grey. Maybe. You get the right angle, you can see it. Obviously it's quite well used, but used, not abused, I think is the trick. You know, it doesn't have, it doesn't look relic, no, but you can see that there's wear on the pickups and then there's wear on the bits that have been touched and stuff like that, but it's been looked after wear, not, hit it with a hammer to make it look dented. No, and it does have some scratches and dents and stuff on the back. It's by no means mint, you know, it's like, you can't really see it. It's not one to focus on it. But it does have, you know, it's got belt bashes and rubs, and obviously that's gone a little bit, it's kind of rusty taking off the metal, and there's the serial number. I can't remember if I showed you or not. There you go, Jai 86. Jai will be the month, made in Japan obviously. Fujigen's finest. But I mean, the evolution of is it the best guitar in the world, and it's like, I think I'm not saying it is. I'm saying there's an argument that could be had. There's some valid points in this which would make it the best guitar in the world. I think, and if you were to make the case, it's not like a pure, you know, price no object. I suppose I don't know how much one of these would cost now. I've noticed the Roadster's gone up in price like mad over the last few years. I've talked to Craig and the Black Sabbath band. He used to hang about Southside Music, and they were always coming in, and they basically just offered them 50 quid for it. That's how much the shop bought in any Roadster for, or Blazer, you know, just the cheap Ibanez. Now you're up, away up, especially like a fancy one. Even the cheaper ones I'm seeing for hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and this is like the 5 Series. This is high up. I suppose it's only the year before the rg550 came out, which replaced it, I suppose. It kind of became the S series, I suppose, a little bit, you know, when they started carving it and making it thinner. It's kind of like an evolution thing. I think maybe, I don't know if this is the evolutionary step from the Blazer to my red Roadster, where they kind of made it a little bit more scooped, to this one where they made it even more scooped, put 24 frets in it, put binding on it, you know, the deluxe-y one. Is the next evolution the Steve Vai, where it's based? Because, I mean, Steve Vai's got a different neck, or when I say Steve Vai, I mean the later RG. So I'll continue by talking about the later RG, being this isn't even an RG, it's a PGM. But you know, you can see that there's similarities to it. This is a less deluxe guitar, I would say, and you've now got the pickup in the middle, which I think was a Steve Vai thing, maybe. Although I do know that West Tone in 1983 did have factory guitars that were HSH. It was a Spectrum 3, it was called. Also, they also did an SHS guitar, which I kind of like the idea of, just because it really humbucker in the middle, it just doesn't look right. Yeah, I suppose it's now got a blade switch. The blade switch is better because you get 5 sounds on it, whereas in a toggle switch you only get 3. So this one I've got wired up with automatic coil splitting in positions 2 and 4, and that's it. This is kind of the next event. So it's got a much wider neck. You can't really see that, but it is. I'll stop this video in a second. It's been 20 minutes. I'll probably put it out. So the 24th fret on this one, at that one, it is 57mm at the 24th fret wide. So this is just going to be the same, I bet you, even though it feels much weirder. It feels much smaller. Yeah, totally. It's exactly the same. So it's all in the neck carve, basically. The nut will be the same as well, because it takes a Floyd Rose, so it'll be the same thing. So the neck, although it's very much a Strat neck, this is a thin flat one. This is a Paul Gilbert one, so it's a different neck carve as well. It's a bit thicker, but you know, thicker this way rather than thicker that way, if you know what I mean. I really need to give that a bit of a clean as well, so I think that's my evening set. I'm going to take the strings off that. I'd love to elixir it, and maybe the quest for elixiring all my guitars. Alexa, could you give me a sponsorship deal, please? It's like, I keep thinking, it's like you get all these guys who get their Harley Benton deals, you know, when Harley Benton send them stuff and they give them a good review. Alexa, send me. I'll review 50 sets of strings for you on all different types of guitars if you want. Because the thing about Elixir strings is they just last longer. They just do. And I'm going to say they last 3 times as long, pretty much, I think. I mean, they do wear down when you play it a lot. So if you're gigging 5 nights a week, there's not really much point in having Elixir strings on your guitar, because they do wear out the same way normal strings wear out. You know, they get kinks and dents and flat spots, and the rubber coating actually starts to wear off them. But that's if you're playing them relentlessly. Whereas I put Elixirs on this, play it for a couple of days, hang it in the wall for a couple of weeks and don't play it, pick it back up again, it's still the same as I left it. Unlike normal strings, where if you hang it in the wall for a couple of weeks, it's kind of like pure, the strings are a wee bit kind of, they go a wee bit sort of crunchy and dull. These basically stay the same for, if you're going to play it for a couple of hours a week, a year, these will still be fine. If you're doing, you know, you're playing it once a week and not doing gigs and sweating on it and pure battering them, they just last longer. So Elixir, give me a shout. Catch you later.